a track performed by The Weeknd and features Daft Punk. The Weeknd is not actually Saturday and Sunday, but instead is a Canadian native Abel Tesfaye. Tesfaye's previous hits include I Only Call You When It's Half and I Can Feel My Face When I'm With You. Tesfaye enlisted the help of EDM legends Daft Punk, which is comprised of Thomas Bangalter and Guy-Manuel de Homem-Christo. With a name that long, it's no surprise that they just go by Daft Punk. Daft Punk's most recent hit was We're Up All Night to Get Lucky, but they do have a couple others that may be worth noting. Regardless, Starboy is off of Tesfaye's third studio album titled Starboy, because naming things is hard. Starboy, the album, not the track, also has the single and was released on September 22nd, 2016, the same day that Starboy, the track not the album, was released. Starboy originally charted at number 40 in the first week of October, and reached its peak at number 2 2 weeks later. However, about a month later, it dropped to number 3, where it stands as of December thanks to a certain hip-hop duo. There is nothing to explain. I'm a fucking black beetle. Tesfaye, Bangalter, and Homem-Christo are all credited as writers, as well as Henry Walter, aka Circuit, and Martin McKinney, aka Doc McKinney. Daft Punk, Circuit, and Doc McKinney are all listed as producers as well. Circuit's most known for being the producer for You're Gonna Hear Me Roar and I Came In Like a Wrecking Ball, both of which were #1 tracks. Doc McKinney has a history with The Weeknd, being the producer for his mixtapes House of Balloons and Thursday, which received high praise from critics. Starboy is released by both XO and Republic Records. Starboy ends up falling in the R&B genre and has been said by critics to redefine it to an extent. It is just under 4 minutes long, in A minor.
The A minor scale contains the pitches A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Its key signature has no flats and no sharps.
4/4 time, and is about 94 beats per minute. It has an intro and goes verse, pre-chorus, chorus 3 times. The very beginning of the track has a swelling pseudo-siren sound before it gives up the drum beat. The beat repeats itself for 4 bars until we get into the first verse. The verse opens with a piano accompaniment along with The Weeknd's vocals. I'm trying to put you in the worst mood. Later in the verse, a sort of distorted string patch is added. None of these toys on lease to This then leads us to the first pre-chorus. House so empty, need a centerpiece. 20 racks a table come from ebony. In the pre-chorus, there is an echo added to the end of some of The Weeknd's phrases. Centerpiece. It also has the first instance of an electronic vocal effect which happens at... It's obviously an echo, and the effect added to it makes The Weeknd sound just a bit more electronic. Daft Punk have a history of making electronic sounding vocals, so it's no surprise that since they're featured on the track, they would add some form of it in. Of course, I'm sure there was a conversation about it that went something like, "So I hear you guys want to add some effects to my vocals. What you thinking? Y'all gonna talk, or whatever, just do what you gotta do." In addition, there is a beat drop near the end of the pre-chorus. The chorus gives us a bunch of new figures of the track, the first of which are some electronic backup vocals. Hey, I hear you guys want to make my backup vocals electronic sounding too. Y'all gonna give me an idea of what you're gonna do with them this time? We still doing this silent thing? I mean, I know it's kind of your guys' shtick, but really? I don't... Just do your thing. The remaining figures come in at the name drop, which consists of a harder snare and a synth lead. The second verse is the exact same as the first. I'd say the same about the following pre-chorus, but there is a slight difference here. As opposed to the distorted string patch continuing from the verse into the pre-chorus, it drops out at the beginning and doesn't return until... You talking money, need a hearing aid. Despite the slight change here, the next chorus is unchanged from the first. Now, the third verse is actually quite different musically from the previous two. For one thing, The Weeknd opens with his accompanying vocals altered once again. Just do whatever you want. This time being tuned down an entire octave.
A series of 8 notes occupying the interval between and including 2 notes, one having twice or half the frequency of vibration of the other.
This verse also introduces a bass synth that has not been heard anywhere else in the track.
Let a nigga Brad Pitt, legend of the fall, took the year like a bandit.
For a while, that's all we get. Just the Weeknd and the bass synth. The drums do enter later in the verse though.
Bought mama a crib and a brand new wagon. Now she hit the grocery shop looking lavish.
Continuing this trend, the third pre-chorus drops all other accompanying figures that were in previous pre-choruses and just has the bass synth and a reduced version of the piano figure.
House so empty, need a centerpiece. 20 racks of table cut from ebony. Cut that ever into skinny pieces.
In addition, instead of a beat drop at the end this time, the swelling sound effect from the very beginning of the track is used to bring about the last chorus.
Switch on my core if I kill any pain.
The last chorus repeats twice and has an echo effect added on the word.
Starboy.
The track ends with just a cutoff at the end.
I'm a motherfucking Starboy.
The first sort of harmony that we get in the track is the
I'm trying to put you in the worst mood. P1 cleaner than your church shoes. Really point to just to hurt you. All red lamb just to tease you.
The harmony being outlined here is A minor, G, F, and then ends with either G or E minor, depending on what phrase you're hearing. The E minor chord is only played on the last part of the figure. For the most part, these are only ever 2 notes being played, except for the G and the E minor chords, which have 2 notes played with a third added later. Notice how the only intervals used here are thirds,
A musical interval encompassing 3 staff positions.
and fifths.
A musical interval encompassing 5 staff positions.
The next accompaniment we get isn't until the chorus where the electronic backup vocals are.
Look what you done.
What's being sung here are sixths.
A musical interval.
Okay, for real though, we don't need to be defining every individual interval. It just means how far the notes are away from each other on the staff, like we defined last time. A third encompasses 3 notes, a fourth 4, a fifth 5, a sixth 6, etc. Alright? Alright.
Hey, fuck you.
Regardless, the vocals rock back and forth each measure from C and A to B and G. Moving on along, we have the synth lead. It's a relatively simple line, but I feel that it does add just that little bit that makes the chorus that much more complex. The fact that the synth lead is a bit more sustained compared to the other high-end accompaniments gives the track a bit more stability during the chorus, and therefore helps to separate it from the other parts of the track. An additional feature I'd like to point out about the synth lead is that it has a sort of introduction before it comes in.
Pain. Look what you done.
It's pretty tough to hear, and I only heard it myself once I isolated the instrumental. I'll play it again without the vocals in order for you to hear it clearly. The last figure on this stellar track,
A horrible attempt at being clever and humorous at the same time.
is the bass synth.
Let a nigga Brad Pitt, legend of the fall, took the year like a bandit. Bought mama a crib and a brand new wagon. Now she hit the grocery shop looking lavish.
Now what makes special is the piano part that joins it later.
House so empty, need a centerpiece. 20 racks of table cut from ebony. Cut that ever into skinny pieces. Then she clean up with her face, man, I love my babe.
The two being played together end up making a great counterpoint
A melody played in conjunction with another.
with each other. Having gone over pretty much all of the melodic instruments previously, that really only leaves us with the Weeknd himself. After going through all of his singing, there are 4 distinct melodies that make themselves apparent in the track, which all line up with the different sections of the song. The first is the melody he sings in the first 2 verses.
None of these toys on lease to
The overall movement of each of his lines is a sustained D, which goes up to an E, then falls through C, and ends at A. Given there are slight variations that he does on this basic movement.
all red lamb just to tease you.
His third third verse melody is very different, especially in the beginning.
Let a nigga Brad Pitt, legend of the fall, took the year like a bandit.
He really just goes down, going from C to B to A. Not exactly complicated, and this is probably why he only ever sings it once, and it is done with a prominent effect. The rest of the verse has a sustained C going up to a D, followed by a sustained B going down to an A.
Bought mama a crib and a brand new wagon. Now she hit the grocery shop looking lavish.
He does give a small embellishment on the melody in one case.
Star Trek groove in the Wraith the Con. Girls get loose when they hear the song.
And alters it to a larger extent at the end of the third verse.
100 on the dash, get me close to God. We don't pray for love, we just pray for cause.
The melody in the pre-chorus has an overall larger form, which starts with an E-G-E, E-A-E figure.
House so empty, need a centerpiece. 20 racks of table cut from ebony.
But it ends with a different figure whose overall movement goes E-C-D-D-C.
Then she clean up with her face, man, I love my baby.
This takes us to our last melodic line, which is split into two parts, both of which are fairly short, considering that the Weeknd doesn't actually sing all that much during the chorus. We have the
Look what you done.
which goes E-G-E-A, and of course the name drop,
I'm a motherfucking starboy.
which is a sustained D going to a quick C then A. It's actually interesting to mention that through the entirety of the song, he covers the entire A minor scale except for the note F. Even in his variations and embellishments, he never hits an F. Some people might get on his case for that to the point where it would give him a headache, but I doubt it would last long. I mean, the man said it himself.
Fucking any pain. Look what you done.